GM Degens, and welcome to the final show of 2021, hosted live on the AlphaMent Discord. It is the AM show for one last time here. I am your host, R2 Degen, and joined with me, as always, Mr. Free Market Capitalist.
Hey now.
Hey now. We are finishing the year out in style. Things feel good in the NFT market. Things feel okay in the crypto market. And we've got a really good show for you today. We are not talking about cryptocurrencies. We are not talking about news in NFTs or cryptos. We're not going over projects. We are just doing our 2021 year in review. And what a year it has been. I think most people in this room got into NFTs in 2021. And I think a lot of people would argue that it's been entirely life-changing, myself included. But this is going to be a great wrap-up show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous. This was a hallmark marquee year for NFTs. I got into NFTs in late 2019 because I was participating in DeFi Summer when I stumbled across this little coin called Rarible. I dug a little deeper. I found out about NFTs and I went all in on crypto. So there you go.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my crypto journey started a little bit earlier than that in 2017, but my NFT journey started substantially later. Getting into it, I think the first one I purchased was back in, I want to say May, kind of around the time that BitClout was starting out. A nice young man by the name of Ghost joined BitClout and started doing profile pictures on there where he would ghostify your profile picture. And he made me this incredible Clout Cobain, which is like the Kurt Cobain with the Clout goggles on profile picture. And I was happy to buy it from him on OpenSea for the low price of 0.05, and that is my first and probably my forever NFT, along with my Degens, which I believe was my second purchase. So yeah, that's how I got into it. I stumbled across this little Discord called AlphaMent, which a lot of my OG BitClout homies were now being a part of, and the rest is kind of history.
Yeah, absolutely. And in February, I discovered art blocks and a little project called Bastard Punks minted. And then the market went into a bear. And not the type of bear you guys are used to, where your offers were cut by 80%. We're talking about offers never showing up in your mailbox. For the 2.5 years I had been participating in NFTs, I had gotten like 3 offers ever from OpenSea, and now I had to put filters above 1E. Otherwise, I would be getting 100 emails a day, even in these quote unquote bears.
Oh,
so it just shows just how crazy. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah. So it just shows how crazy a year 2021 was, which is highlighted by what was built during the last bear market, which is Bored Ape Yacht.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to just give a special shout out to AlphaMent, all of you guys that have joined up with this community, and of course, all of the team, which would be Scott, NVO, Drip Cult, Free Market, Maz. We have the mod team that's always been here. Henry, Shoebang, Dirty Milk has joined up, and oh my god, am I forgetting anybody? Please tell me I'm not forgetting anybody. It's been a amazing year. It's been a year that I've quit my job from the restaurant industry to pursue NFTs and build this community with those guys full time. And honest to God, like I wake up every day excited to do this show with you, Free Market. Excited to jump into the Degens dojo and the general chat and interact with all you guys. So I mean, this has just been life-changing to say the least, and I'm so grateful for meeting everybody and being a part of this. It's exciting, and I'm thrilled to see what 2022 has to bring.
Right back at you, sir.
Yeah, this is it's been a wonderful experience, and I'm proud to say that I think it's been maybe 9 weeks, 10 weeks. I think we're almost on 50 episodes without even missing a single weekday of doing this show. So that's been pretty impressive as well. We wake up every morning, we grab a coffee, we talk for about an hour, prepare for the show, and then we just let it rip. And it's honestly so much fun.
Right back at you, man. This is the highlight of my morning.
Getting a little bit sappy here, but yeah. So, like I
Mm.
said, we have a great show. We're gonna do a little bit of year in review. We're gonna be giving out some awards for best or worst of 2021, and I'm really excited to get right into it. Of course, at the end of the show, if anybody wants to jump up and provide their hot takes, or if you disagreed or agreed with anything, please jump on up with us, and we can continue the show after that as well. Also, really pumped to say that we only have 7 Alpha Mint passes left in the third wave. Those are very, very close to selling out. So I hope we could sell them out before the end of the year and hit the ground running in 2022. But on that note, anything else you want to say before we get into the awards, my friend?
Let's talk NFTs.
Let's talk the JPEGs. All right. So we yesterday came up with a couple of different subjects that we're going to be talking about today. We're just going to run through them, and yeah, hopefully we get some good reactions out of it. But the first one that I wanted to talk about was the most surprising project of 2021. So this wasn't something that maybe was obvious, but something that kind of caught us off guard or exceeded expectations or whatever. So what do you got for most surprising project of the year, my friend?
My most surprising project of the year is a little niche project you may have heard of called CloneX. All right.
Really, this is where we're going. This is already the hot
I
takes coming out.
people can act not shocked in retrospect, but this was a project off maligned in the Degen dojo and on Twitter by anybody who was not in this pre-sale or had known Artifact, especially after another very high profile drop that had happened. It was billed to be the next major failure. People had anticipated that extremely elevated mint price of 2 ETH, which was changed because of a terrible launch, was inflated, and that soon after they revealed it would fall to 1 E or even under, where many of the bears in the Degen dojo would snap some up for a trade. Quite the opposite happened. And the moment they were revealed, it was announced that Artifact was bought by the largest streetwear and sports apparel company in the world, Nike. They subsequently ran to 7E to a 7E floor on the Commons and a 15E floor on the Vials. And while the art may still be slightly divisive, you see so many people rocking them as PFPs. This is going to be an elite collection. And something that may seem obvious in retrospect, had you been there the week of launch, may not have been so obvious. Are you muted, Art?
I am, yes. I got to agree with you in terms of CloneX in a kind of roundabout way, right? Like we all knew it was going to mint out. We all knew it was going to be a success. They had a lot of FUD happening. They were not without their share of faults during the minting process, the pre-sale process. All of these things kind of seem to be pointing against maybe the rise and fall of CloneX and Artifact. They've made some missteps with the licensing, holding back the Mirakamis for the team and all of that stuff. And the reveal happened, and it seemed like maybe it was a little bit lackluster. The floor started dipping below the mint price of 2 ETH, although all the pre-sales were done at 0.05, so those were still winners. And then they dropped the bomb on the world that Nike was acquiring them, and here we are. They are, after a month of reveal, about 4 ETH on the floor. The mint files are still very, very high. I think they were 9 ETH the last time I checked. And this project seems to have, in hindsight, and surprising to me, done all of the right things in managing their hype cycle and keeping the ball rolling. So, they didn't get down as low as everybody thought they were, and they are still kicking. So I think it's actually a great pick.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where they kept saying that there was something and you had to trust them, and you could hardly blame anybody in the NFT world for listening to a team when they say wink wink, we trust you. How many projects have actually executed on their roadmap to a point where there was some massive pump after releasing the next step of it? Very few. It's usually a sell the news situation. So this was really executed perfectly from a financial engineering standpoint on their part.
Yeah, this is a project that has killed it, and a big congratulations to anybody that held strong in their convictions, yourself included, in Clonex, and you know it's paid off in spades for it. So cheers to that. I'm gonna go with it's kind of a combination of things, but I'm gonna pick BearX, which is something we haven't spoken about in a while, and there might be some eye rolls because who gives a shit about BearX? But I'm also going to just include these big overhyped projects that built up this artificial hype cycle, uh, underwent like a massive hack, really kind of dropped the ball on everything, and then still managed to succeed despite it all. I think it was actually one of the shortcomings of the NFT community about how willingly we were supporting projects that didn't respect the security or the the money that people were throwing into it. BearX had a massive hack. Their Discord was probably one of the first big ones that we saw. I think it was like 120 ETH ended up getting stolen. I mean, they refunded people, good on them, but they actually raised the mint price to help fund the refunding of it rather than just taking it out of their own projects. They held one of ones back and auctioned them off for like 10 ETH afterwards. It's a project that is still kicking around. I mean, the floor looks like it's 0.16, but that's just for the babies. So they've kind of copied the Kongs and the Kaijus in that regard. Like everything about this project really was frustrating to me. And if you're holding them, please don't take this as FUD. It really is just the story that kind of gets to me that these projects, there's other ones included in it as well, but BearX is the one that stands out to me. So that would be my biggest surprise of the year, was just kind of how a project like this and other projects similar to what happened to them just kind of not only maintained but thrived.
I really like this take because we talk about projects that do some things wrong and manage to succeed anyway. This project did everything wrong. And it wasn't just that they did everything wrong, it was when they did it. This was not a good time for new mints. This was not a great time for NFTs in general. So they honestly could be credited with bringing us out of that small bear market.
Could
They
be.
they launched right at the tail end of this period when people were questioning whether things could even mint out. And to their credit, the one thing they did right was allow pre-sale people to mint up to 10, and they put no limit on the public sale afterwards. And I think that's what helped them sell out.
Yeah, I mean, this was a topic of discussion on the AM show almost too much. Like we were talking internally behind the scenes about like we got to like cut the conversation down about this, but like it really was like kind of sweeping the NFT world, and it was one of those projects that was like it felt like it was one of the first ones that like built up to what 50, 60, 70,000 followers in Discord almost overnight. They really ran up that hype cycle, and despite all of the issues that they had, they survived. So I mean, good on them. It's and again, if you're holding them, this isn't meant to fud your bags if you believe in the project or whatnot. But I was just surprised that they managed to kind of hold the attention of the community and continue to succeed.
Yeah.
So moving on from there, next subject or next award we have is the most surprising flop of the year. I'm going to let you lead off with this one.
Yes, the most surprising flop of the year.
Drum
And
roll.
this may not sound surprising, but it's Mecca for me. Okay, Mechaverse, right? This was the marquee anticipated mint of the year. They created a 250,000 person Discord, which was literally unheard of at the time. They had penetrated the normie mind share, and people who were not into NFTs were asking me, have you heard of this mecha? How do I do mecha? What is mecha? Right? And if whatever you think about the team and the launch dynamics of this project, okay, after they had minted and they were in pre-sale, and remember, they stayed in pre-sale for I think a week before they revealed, because of what
Pre-reveal,
we heard
yeah.
were rumors of, yeah, we heard rumors that they did not like the final art, which is a little hilarious, because I think the biggest surprise with Mecha was that the art was violently underwhelming. I mean, when people saw the reveal, there was literal laughing. Like, it was the way that people thought they were going to laugh at Clonex because of those meme Clonexes that had been passed around. That's what people were doing with Mecha. And I don't think anybody, regardless of whether you thought it was going to fall from that pre-reveal price, which I think most people in the Degen Dojo did, we were expecting good art. Everyone wanted these things. I mean, we're talking influencers, we're talking by the artificial hype cycle, by the failed launch, by the ridiculous pump they saw pre-reveal, and by the delayed reveal, and then the shenanigans apparently by the team doing insider trading.
Oh, I completely forgot about that too.
I mean, it was such a weird and awful debut for what was by far and easily the most anticipated NFT project of all time, that I think Mechaverse is by far the most surprising flop of this year.
Yeah, this is a good one. I mean, at its face value, it seems kind of weird to call a project that has done 45,000 ETH in volume, minted out 8,880 of these at, I don't even remember the mint price. It wasn't cheap though. It was at 0.25.
0.2. Yeah.
0.2. Yeah. So, I mean, these guys brought in tens of millions of dollars. To call it a flop might seem weird, but yeah, I mean, if you were there at the time, especially before even the minting and the reveal, like, this was supposed to be a contender for the next big profile picture project and like metaverse play as well. This was supposed to be something that, in hindsight was just going up into the right only. If you would ask people back then, where would the price of these be on December 31st, 2021? I don't think it would have been uncommon for people to say 5, 10 ETH. I'm sure you would have had people say these things are going to 20 ETH, no problem. And then all of the launch dynamics were mired in not only FUD but kind of conspiracy as well. But the reveal happened, and honestly, they were just lackluster. Now, that being said, we did have somebody on the show yesterday that gave the bull case for Mecha, and I think that you and I both, as we were talking about this morning, thought like this is the most bullish we felt about Mecha. Hard to believe that this is a project that can go any lower than where it is now, and it's been around 1 ETH for a while. But it definitely was lackluster at the time.
And let's be clear here. This is not a flop based on financials. This is a flop relative to the expectations
100%.
that the management team put out there. And I mean, this is whether we're talking about Wall Street or whether we're talking about NFTs, it's an executive team's job to manage public expectations. If you screw that up, you can cause hype cycles that destroy your project, whether the underlying product is good or not. It is very important to manage the expectations of the public, because we can see how a bad taste or a screwed up launch can really linger well beyond when it should. And quite frankly, had any other project minted at 0.2 and was sitting at 0.9 right now, we'd be calling it a success, but we're not,
100%,
because of the expectations that management set.
Yeah, I'm wholeheartedly in agreement with you there. And important to remember that pre-reveal, these things were trading at 9 ETH. 9 ETH. And this is where they're at right now. So yeah, I mean, do I think they have a future? I gotta believe that they have enough funds to make something happen. 3D profile pictures have sort of come back into the meta, and you know, with Coinbase on the horizon, maybe this is something that's ripe for the pickup. As you said, this was a project that, you know, I'm air quoting, but the normies were hyper aware of as well, and maybe this kind of comes back in 2022. Also, want to give them full credit for kickstarting that little bear run or bear market we had for a bit there too. I mean, this thing just sucked up so much liquidity for about
Oh
10
man.
days before the reveal. And after that, it was all downhill. But we're back, baby, and we don't even remember it anymore. So yeah, Mecca is an amazing pick.
And
My Yeah, go ahead.
big shout out to Jaguar, my lemon homie. We do an AMA at the end of the show, so please do not go anywhere. I want to hear what you have to say, but we do our AMA right at the end of the show. So one love, and please put your hand back up later. We want to hear from you.
Oh, okay. On
Sorry,
the
go
in the
ahead,
show.
R2.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
all good.
Mm-hmm.
So my pick for biggest flop this year would actually just be dragon projects. There was a little point in time a couple months ago, maybe not even that long ago, that we were talking about Digi Dragons, Dormant Dragons, Cosmic Wyverns, Project Draka. These were all happening at the same time. Pixel art was very in at that time. All these profile pictures of, like, you know, different things seem to work, and we thought, you know, we didn't think super highly of all of them, but we definitely thought that one or two of them would be a pretty big success. And boy, did all of these flop. Anything that was dragons was just an absolute shit show, with hacks, fucked up launch dynamics, not minting out, people staying away from them. The art on some of them was atrocious. The art on some of them was okay, but it was just like this, like, back to back to back to back succession of projects that just fucking absolutely tanked. And here we are. I do think that it probably phased out pixel art in the meta for the short term. And you know, when we were in that moment in time talking about these, I don't think we would have thought that all of them would have completely flopped. But in hindsight, it was a hilarious kind of look back to don't touch the dragons, I guess.
I think we were all planning on minting at least one, if not more of these. And just as they got closer to mint, all of us pretty much backed away. It was these projects. I say this a lot. A project has to make a case for its existence. Okay, you can't just be good art. You can't just have a flashy roadmap. You have to fire on all cylinders, of course, but more than that, you have to effectively tell your story. Are you okay?
Yeah, man, I'm good. Fucking Restream just closed everything. Uh, no, I don't think that was for very long. Anyway, sorry. What I was saying was, the art on those look good, and you know, maybe not the best profile pictures, but the only dragon project that ended up actually doing decently well in the short term was the Wizards and Dragons game, which definitely wasn't centered around dragons or profile pictures, but that just kind of popped
Still
into my
kicking
mind.
around that one.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah. So let's move on to the next award. The biggest. Oh, sorry. The hindsight is 2020 award. So this is looking back on things that could have been completely obvious to us, but maybe it wasn't at the time. But I'm gonna go with the gaming meta. it seemed inevitable that on-chain gaming was going to take over. And we had a great string of projects that were highly, highly successful. Obviously, EtherOrcs was one of the ones that kicked that off. If you want to go back a little bit further, we had Anonymice and then See My Cats. But EtherOrcs really brought this into the ethos. They had a lot of different concepts. There was a lot of game theory. It captured the attention of Alpha Mint and all of these other communities in a big, big way. And still to this day continues to be incredibly successful. They've launched more seasons and they're having a lot of fun with it. And the team is absolutely top tier. But we also saw really, really successful things like we mentioned, Wizards and Dragons. Wolf Game kind of came out of nowhere, and we saw some, Alpha Mint members have some gigantic wins. But even just a lot of people in crypto just NFTs cleaned up in Wolf Game, and that has even come back in a big way in the last week too. Some other notable ones that I was thinking about is Critters, which is a little bit more new to us just in the last day, but they've also taken the idea of staking and play to earn and imported it into Minecraft. And I had that moment when I logged into Minecraft using my staked critter of like, this is so fucking obvious. This makes so much sense to me. And that's kind of why I gave it the hindsight award. And NFTs, crypto and gaming, play to earn, digital ownership, all of this stuff makes so much sense. It's not going anywhere, and I don't think that it's just a meta or a fad. It might come in and out of favor a little bit, but this is not something that's going to go away completely like some of the other trends that we see.
I think this is everybody's most popular trend for 2022. This is the one area that, they call it GameFi or NFTFi. This is legitimizing DeFi, as that sector has always had a problem penetrating the attention gasm there. And I think that that is why we're seeing such a move towards this P2E gaming right now. It's very obvious, and it combines really the two use cases of Ethereum into this perfect little sector. Now, the only issue is that it's very obvious, right? And everybody is looking at it. The niche trend that people aren't looking at is probably going to be the best return next year. This is a very large meta trend that's going to play out over a few years. And just going 100% into GameFi right now, I actually think would be a bit of a mistake. You have to have a nuanced take on it. You have to know which projects are going to be hot. But I certainly think this year kicked off what's going to be a multi-year secular trend in crypto gaming.
Yeah, I think that if this isn't a trend that ends up working out, I think that we should maybe actually be concerned about NFTs in general, to be honest with you. It just seems like such a good match. And I don't think that it's going to take over the gaming space immediately, but I do think that we are just going to continue to see it grow and grow and grow. And it's going to be one of those things that we look back in 5-6 years and say like, I'm so happy that I got to participate in this, and hopefully.
And it's why I think a project like EtherOrcs is so undervalued, right? Because I truly think over the next few years, the big disruptor is going to be when a gaming company or a team whose core competency was gaming decides to incorporate crypto, and we get some sort of Fortnite or World of Warcraft phenomenon based on Ethereum. That said, things like EtherOrcs specifically are going to be looked back on as relics. They are going to be the crypto punks of GameFi. And I really think their price in Ethereum is going to reflect that. The fact that they're selling under 1 ETH now is one of the greatest opportunities in the entire space.
Yeah, I mean, if I could equate them to some like real world gaming analogy of it would be World of Warcraft. Now, not because they're orcs, and not because they were the first game, but they were the first one to really kind of grab the attention of everybody. And these games are very, very sticky. Once you're in them, you've sunk your time, your money, and your energy into them. It's very hard to walk away from them too. And I think EtherOrcs has done that to an absolute T. I think at the time when it was going down, obviously Alphamint was very excited. I missed out on it, and it was a lot of fun watching everybody have fun with it. But I don't think that I would have thought that it is where it is now. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm pleasantly surprised, and I don't think that this is a meta that's going away at all. What do you got? What do you got in for hindsight is 2020 award?
Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? Now, I think everyone in the audience just went, well, duh. Well, yeah, that's the point of this segment, right? Because if you go back two
Yeah.
months, ain't nobody thought Bored Apes would be even when they were sitting at 2 and 3 and you had the diehard Bored Apes telling you these things were going to flip punks, they're going to get over 50, all this shit. People called them crazy. I dismissed them, right? This was not a likely story.
They were
But
laughed
Yuga
off the
Labs
stage.
laughed off the stage, but Yuga Labs has executed a flawless victory this year, arguably up until yesterday, but I think that's a small point. But Bored Apes has not only redefined utility, they've redefined what it is to be an NFT. They have put on a masterclass in both PR and managing a hype cycle. We've talked about some failures this year, and for all of CloneX's success, it was a completely mismanaged PR situation. Yuga Labs is the opposite. I mean, Bored Apes have done no wrong. They absolutely deserve to be the next blue chip, which I believe they are, and I think they're getting over 100 in the first quarter of this next year. I applaud Bored Apes. They can create more supply and it's never diluted. In fact, I think it's a value add. I think when they release Mutant Dogs next month and people see that, I don't know, is it going to be a 40,000 collect? I don't know exactly how big the collection will be, but when they see this thing holds over a 1E floor, I think that's what's going to inspire mutants to get over 20. I think that's what's going to inspire apes to get over 100. And I can't say enough good things about apes. They win the year, they win the industry. I tip my hat.
Yeah, I these this team is going to write the book on how to manage an NFT project. Like you said, they've just done everything right. It's been this constant, relentless a pressure, and obviously they have a really great community that's kind of rallied around it as well. But yeah, I mean, sure, talking about it now seems obvious. Bored apes, bored apes are bored apes. They've always been good. They're always going to increase in value, yada yada yada. But I mean, much to our chagrin, these things were like basically placed in our laps back in May at 0.3, and we just said, nah. Right, like I wasn't buying NFTs. It wasn't your thing, and it's fine. It doesn't cause me to lose any sleep overnight. But like, it just the few missteps that Yuga Labs has had has just made this so obvious now that they're so focused on their community. They do so much for them. They rally around a cause. They really make this a membership club that people want to be a part of. They're getting celebrities to join the Bored Ape Club, like Post Malone, Jimmy Fallon, Snoop Dogg's been buying them. Like all of these people are hugely, hugely, hugely relevant in the world. And that's not to say something like a CryptoPunks hasn't had that as well. But we cannot go a day without talking about something Bored Apes, even if it is an unfortunate hack. Something in Bored Apes happens every single day, whether it's 1,000 ETH, M3 serum sale, doing the revealing of them live on Twitch, announcing another project, announcing another partnership. I mean, they partnered with Timbaland to do the Ape Records or whatever it was that they had. Like, this is just a ball that has not stopped rolling. So cheers to them, kudos to them. They've done everything seemingly right, and I think that there's no stopping them at this point.
So I want to shout out Miho, who put a great point in the general chat. He even said, am I crazy for thinking mutants take over next year? No, I don't think you're crazy. I don't think they would ever flip Bored Apes. I do think that they are undervalued relative to apes right now. I believe the gap between Bored Apes and mutants will close. And while they will never flip the underlying collection, I think they are so undervalued relative to the apes, given they're practically the same entry into the club. And anybody who can't afford an ape is going to go to a mutant, and anyone who can't afford a mutant is going to go to a dog, and so on and so on.
Yeah, you got it. Anything that this brand is a part of, it has done well. I mean, we saw the drop of Mutant Apes just go incredibly well, and they crushed it. And Mutant Apes themselves, I think, were about at a 12 ETH floor, if not a little bit less than that. But yeah, everything that Bored Ape Kennel Club is doing 6 ETH, and I got to believe the Mutant Dogs are when they come are going to do similar numbers. It just makes sense now, and I would never bet against them.
I think they have the capital, and I mean like political capital, to do 40,000 mutant dogs, and I think that those 40,000 will have a floor over 1 ETH.
Oh, easily. I would take that bet 99 out of 100 times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I completely agree with that. So, okay, that was a great discussion, and I'm glad that you picked Bored Apes because I think that is the right answer in this topic. So let's move on to the biggest fall from grace of 2021. I picked Galactic Apes. This is one of the first big projects that I ended up minting. I love them. I love the art. I think that Wes did a really great job of launching this. Galactic Apes Genesis is just like some pinnacle PFP with all the animations and everything that they have. I loved everything about this project, but it just stalled. I mean, it went from I think it was a point one or a 0.08 mint price, and really
0.08.
0.08, right. Um, you know, after the reveal, this was one of those rare projects that after the reveal, it went up and up and up and up. There was a while there that it was about 3 ETH floor, and that's where it just kind of all fell apart. Now, obviously, once things run up to that much, there's going to be an inevitable pullback and some sideways trading. But this is an example of maybe some mismanagement in the project. I don't think it's dead. I think that this is a great entry point if you've ever wanted to get into Galactic Apes at about 0.25 right now. But West teased out Galactic Monkeys. This was going to be a 1-to-1 drop. If you owned an ape, you got a monkey, you just claimed it. He made some excuses about the art not being ready. Oh, gas is too high for you guys. I don't want to jeopardize the project. Tokens came into meta. Every project was doing a token. The slogan of the NFT world was when token. And Wes said, no, fuck your tokens. We're going to do NFT drops. We're going to do missions and you're going to earn extra NFTs, which I think we're all in agreement. Nobody wants more of these NFTs, these, illiquid assets as a passive income. And, it all just kind of started to fall apart there. Monkeys eventually did drop. There was a slight rebound. People sold them. And then, the floor just kind of collapsed into about, I think it was as low as 0.15 for a little bit there. And it's having a little bit of trouble getting off the mat. So I think that this was a really, really interesting rise and falls story. And I wouldn't count them out. I still have some. I still think they're fantastic art. And if there's nothing else about that, they make great profile pictures. But I don't know where this is now. This seemed like a shoe-in to be a 5 ETH project eventually. And here we are sitting well below 1 ETH.
Yeah. And this, it's kind of funny because you could argue that Galactic Apes saw the meta coming. They knew this GameFi thing was going to be big. Wes practically designed the model that a lot of these projects are kind of going with now, but he was early. And in markets, there's a saying, early is wrong, right? And unless you have the capital and mental fortitude to hodl something for a very, very long time, being early is wrong, right? And that's just unfortunately what happened here. Nobody was quite mature enough on the idea of these illiquid markets, how easily hype could inflate a price well beyond where it should even remotely be. And then if you cannot deliver, if you cannot somehow maintain that level of hype, you're going to see a violent retrace. And he happened to launch into the best market NFTs had ever seen.
So true.
And unless you were going to and unless you were going to continue to deliver on that level into the teeth of the bear, there was just no way this was going to maintain that type of price. Now, I don't fault Wes as much as some other people. I don't think anybody knew a lot back then. I think he was just doing what felt right, and I think a lot of what he did was genuine, passionate, and it was right for what he thought was going to happen. But the cycles in which the cycles that NFTs experience were becoming shorter and shorter, more and more roadmap dependent. And he was just early with his concepts. And then we can even talk about, originally, you weren't even going to win a utility token for these missions. It was going to be like special limited edition NFTs, which probably sounded right when he came up with it. But in our new world of don't dilute your brand and when token, it just wasn't going to work. And he ended up giving in and announcing Goo, which is going to be their token, which I think is the right move. But I think all these things have led to the perspective that this leader doesn't know what he's doing, which I think is a little unfair. And I do think apes have bottomed. Galactic apes have bottomed here as well.
Yeah, I agree with your kind of take on West too. It was a very uncertain time. I don't want to say uncertain time, but like thing that we weren't as developed as we were in the ecosystems, and the expectations for projects were substantially different at the time. It was before the when token kind of craze took over, and I'm assuming that West kind of had this vision for the project. Prior to all the tokens, and he stuck to his guns, much to the community's dismay. But it was quite a fall from grace, in the sense that there was I don't even want to say a brief period of time. It was quite extended, actually, where these profile pictures were everywhere, including an Alpha Mint, and they looked good. Dirty Milk had his AS Gape in there all the time. Scott was rocking a Gape for a long time. I had one. People coming and going, you would see them in the Alpha Mint stage now, then all the time. And now you look at this, and there's none of them in there. That is a pretty good indicator that people kind of threw their hands up of it. But again, like you said, they're not dead in the water. If you're just betting on art alone, these are some top tier pixel art PFPs. So,
and
yeah.
Here's an honorable mention for a project that happened earlier in the summer when I don't think a lot of us were around, but Vogu. All right. This is another project that really just seemed ahead of its time. Not a lot of people were talking about TV shows, licensing property, entertainment. This was an angle Vogu came from. And
great call,
man,
too, yeah.
was it hype. Talk about seeing them everywhere. I used to see these Vogu PFPs, especially all over BitClout. I know a lot of people were rocking them and love this project. It's sitting below mint price right now, which for all of Galactic Apes faults. And I mean, this is, again, mismanagement of expectations by teams and practically disappearing from the Discord, from what I understand.
Yeah, I was going to say,
in regards to Vogu, but
definitely a mismanagement of community.
That's pretty much it.
Using the funds that they had, and they were in abundance. They didn't hire any kind of community manager, any team to kind of stay in there, keep people engaged, manage expectations. They fell flat, and yeah, that was a big under deliver as well. And you know what? Like, they had all of the opportunity in the world back then to grab a stranglehold over profile pictures. I think if I'm, in hindsight, knowing what we know now, as I'm kind of scrolling through the activity page of this thing and looking at them, they actually don't make good profile pictures. The details are too fine. You won't see people having these and having a lot of differentiation. Some of the backgrounds really muddle the details as well. So, I mean, maybe that was one of the reasons why this happened before we realized that it all happened. But yeah, all the opportunity in the world, and it kind of just was mismanaged, for sure. Great call. What's your take on the biggest fall from grace of 2021?
Another niche project I don't know if a lot of people have heard of, CryptoPunk.
I knew we were going there. Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people in this room were in NFTs in February, but there was a bit of a mainstream news cycle in February for a few reasons. One was a CryptoPunk had sold for $11 million in auction,
Yep.
and Beeple sold the most expensive NFT of all time for $69 million at auction. Now, CryptoPunks were the undisputed king of NFTs. It was the only NFT an average person could name if they named one. Larva Labs rolled into 2021 as the king of the hill. In fact, they felt like they had the pull to drop a 20,000 metaverse project, a 20,000 supply metaverse project called Meebits, which quickly ramped to almost a 7 ETH floor, just like Clonex. Now, we talked about Clonex being a large supply now towards the later end of the year with all these new entrants into the market. None of those people were there when Meebits dropped, okay? This was a ballsy drop by a company that, quite frankly, had the political capital to do it. Now, as the year unfolded and mainstream companies started buying punks and celebrities started buying punks, they went on a run that defined the first half of 2021, getting up to 100E, over 100E at one point. Eventually, things started to go stale. The Meebits drop was largely considered a failure as no utility was announced. The metaverse utility seemed to be very far out. The floor started to drop, and a small upstart project that seemed to be gaining speed quickly on them was CyberCon, which people had dismissed early on, treated as not a very important project, and all of a sudden was being billed as the utility metaverse play in existence. And I saw quite a few punk owners flip their Meebits just to buy a CyberCon at the time. And this started the punk's fall from grace. After that, we saw Bored Apes get above 10E and become the story of the day. You heard some of the more ardent fans then say Bored Apes were going to catch up to punks. Bored Apes were going to flip punks. People still thought it was an absolutely ridiculous premise, but there was rancor growing within the punk community. This new project was gaining steam, and whether they had equaled the price of CryptoPunks, they were stealing all the PR to the point where people wanted apes instead of punks. And then it really came down to the rights, right? We talk about licensing rights, and punks, you do not own the licensing rights to your punk. You cannot use it in your own commercial operation, which is a stark contrast from Bored Apes.
And Larva Labs is
This
actively
caused
seeking out people who defy that too. Like they go after people.
that. Exactly. And we talked about Bored Apes having a flawless execution this year. Well, somebody created a flipped version of apes, much like we had a flipped version of funks, right? Funks were the response to this DCA licensing issue that CryptoPunks had, like, ha, go ahead, come get us. And they launched on OpenSea, and punks went and got them. They sent a letter and said, you need to remove this collection. They've stolen our IP. Now, you have to understand, crypto people are decentralized. They have a libertarian bent to them. This is the philosophy that underpins the entire industry. This is not, we don't sue each other. It is a free market. And this was a little bit anti the ethos that most people who had minted CryptoPunks originally believed in. So now you had this new project giving people all the rights they've ever wanted, starting to steal mind share away from punks, and punks and Larva Labs acting in a way that really rubbed true crypto natives the wrong way. So this caused the top to be put in, and punks continued to fall from 100 to a point where earlier this month, Bored Apes actually flipped punks for about 37 minutes. Bored Apes were worth 62 ETH and punks were worth 58 or something like that. I forget the exact discrepancy.
I think it was even tighter than that,
you
but
could
yeah, it was
argue that
very brief.
Little tighter than that, but that was something I don't think anybody would have predicted or expected had you been in NFTs in February. As we said, punks could do no wrong, and it. The fever pitch was so crazy last month and early this month. People were selling punks to buy funks, which is a garbage collection that really says nothing except we're angry that crypto punks aren't giving us blah blah blah. And to get to the crux of this argument, crypto punks don't have to do anything. To think that CryptoPunks should match Bored Apes utility just because apes became popular is ridiculous. And I think much of what underpinned the funk movement is fugazi. That said, I think that we all saw it coming as punks were losing their shine. And once it got so funny and so anti-punk that I just couldn't take it anymore, I decided to get bullish on them because I do think that both punks and apes are going to go to 100 next year. But certainly my vote for Fall from Grace, if you had been there in February, would be CryptoPunks.
Yeah, it's pretty funny to say that a project that routinely sells for several $1 million every time one of these gets sold is a fall from grace. But you're 100% right. This was a project that was like the de facto PFP profile picture. When I was explaining to people, in my IRL what NFTs were, and people are like, I'm not sure, and then I would show them a picture of a CryptoPunk. They'd be like, especially if they were even remotely active on Twitter, but they would be like, "Oh yeah, I've seen those." And then that was the talking point that people would start to wrap their heads around. Bored Apes kind of was second place to that. But yeah, I mean, I honestly think that the Hard Rock Nick meme, "Can the devs do something?" might have actually started with Larva Labs, because that's what the punk community was crying for so long. As they watched the Bored Apes just in the rear view mirror get closer and closer, almost like the Terminator scene where they're driving away. But yeah, I mean, Bored Apes just, they got there, and it's so interesting listening to one of the OG Bored Apes talk about how their original goal, they're like the best case scenario for apes was to eventually flip Meebits, right? And this is where we are now. This is how far it's come. And I agree with you. It's
Yeah.
not like Larva Labs has to be reactionary. It's not like this is a zero sum game, or like there's only winner take all. And if apes flip the punks, that there's no coming back for the punks. But I just think that they had some missteps. I think that they could have done better. I think that they could have been better ambassadors to this new decentralized Web3 world, and they were more than happy to kind of just sit back and let it happen. And maybe it was inevitable. Maybe this is something that was always going to happen. Who knows? But yeah, I agree. They are not the pinnacle of NFTs anymore.
No, and I like how the punks have generally responded to this. I disagree going after other projects that copy their IP. I think the best response to that stuff is always to laugh it off. I mean, nothing any of these other projects can do take away what make you great. So I see no reason even acknowledging them beyond laughing.
Definitely. I agree. You don't have to, you can take the high road. You can just say, let them do what they're doing. It doesn't affect
Right.
us. No, all exposure is good exposure. You want funks to have a moment? Well, guess what? Once people look at funks, it all roads lead back to CryptoPunks, right? But instead they just
Bastards. Bastard
they
punks.
suppressed.
All
Yeah.
road. I'm just kidding.
No, hey, might be a thing in
Hey,
2021. Surprised we left that project off all of our lists, but maybe we eyes are elsewhere right now. Okay, let's move on to the most promising future. Looking forward to 2022. What project do you think has a great future ahead of it?
so my pick for most promising future would be Kaiju Kings.
No surprise there.
We've talked about a lot of the failed drops and the failed launch dynamics that a lot of teams experienced this year. This was the exact opposite. This was the most successful and well executed launch of the year, easily the most hyped, kind of stealthy project because nobody knew about it or expected it kind of to show up. But by the time it minted, the demand for these things was absolutely bananas, because even after the fully whitelisted mint sold out, the secondary on these things went absolutely wild. First, they went to 5E, then they pulled back to 3, then they went to 7. And then during this very quiet stretch for the team, they ended up pulling all the way back to 1.3 at one point, which was actually the lowest the collection had ever been. We see this so often with projects. You know, every project is going to go through a quiet period. That is the period when the team is building. They don't necessarily have time to hop into the Discord and talk about what they've already done and try to foster an alpha community. If a team really has an ambitious roadmap there, they need to get building. And Kaiju Kings has one of the most competent teams that I've ever had the pleasure of talking with and getting to know. We we see great projects with good art and a good roadmap, but what makes you an investor versus a trader? You got to get in there and get to know the team. That's why Discords are great. They have AMAs, they have town halls. You tend to be able to mix it up with the mods, mix it up with the developers and admins, and you get to know a team. Do they understand NFTs? Do they get it? Are they concerned with the floor price? Are they building when things go quiet? And that's a big yes for all of those with Kaiju Kings. I think it was the best art, the best pixel art of the year. I think they are very, very quote unquote cool. And I hope that doesn't sound too boomerish, but I could see these things really ending up in a rapper's profile picture. They're kind of rebellious. They're like Kongs, but they're a little younger. If you go into that alpha room, it is very randy. It would remind you of a frat house, but they're all very genuine, good people. It's a great community, and I do think kaijus are going to reach 10 ETH next year. Now, given the current roadmap, Shubang made some great points in the Degen dojo earlier today. If you were just going on what has already been announced, there's an end to this product, right? There, you could see babies minting out and things just tanking, as the price of kaijus is pretty directly correlated to what you can get for a baby right now. But again, it takes time and a little bit of research to understand whether a team, quote unquote, gets it. I think that kaijus do. I bought another one. I bought two of them actually into the lows a couple of weeks ago, and I'm very bullish on that project and think they're going to become one of the next elites next year.
I have a hard time disagreeing with you on any of these points, except maybe the best pixel. I still think that the best pixel art would probably be Galactic Apes, but that may be a bias in that. The one thing that I will give kaijus is some of the traits that they did were like absolutely masterful in the way that they look. Like the beanie, two cats. Some of the glasses are just absolutely stunning. That even just that red bandana, like the way that they use the pixels to put that much detail in there is incredibly hard. I can tell you from firsthand experience. These are like just top tier profile pictures. And yeah, one of the things that you always know is when the kaijus are around. I mean, they come in, they seem to travel in packs, and they rock the profile pictures proudly, and they stand out to a T. So I mean, I love the kaiju project. Obviously, like you said, there should be more to come, and seems to be a project that has a very competent team. They've done a great job of managing their community. If the amount of time that you spend in their Discord is any indication, and how active it is. And I think that one of the biggest understated things that they did was how they handled some of their mint dynamics. It wasn't flawless, but the way that they responded to them was flawless, to the point where a lot of projects after the fact tried to copy it without understanding the context in which they were operating. And I think it caused a lot of projects to flop because they were trying to be the next kaiju in the way that they handled it. Even something as simple as this was the first and probably one of the last projects that I can remember that locked all pre-sale trading before reveal, which was a very interesting choice. A lot of teams love to get that hype cycle going before the reveal, build up some volume, and of course some royalties. Kaiju turned that on their head, and we haven't really seen it done too successfully since then.
I had never seen it before. I guess you could say it was a little frustrating. It was interesting. It seemed that there were a lot of people putting kind of prank bids on kaijus because you knew they couldn't be sold. So you'd see some randy people bidding 10 ETH on one, even though the floor was like two
Yep.
pre-reveal, just because you knew that it couldn't be accepted. I had never seen a project do that, but I actually like it. In contrast to something like Clonex, which said that they tried to dissuade trading with a 10% royalty, which is fucking ridiculous
Yeah.
because they did like 20,000 ETH in
Yeah.
volume. If you really wanted to dissuade trading, lock it like Kaiju. I thought that was pretty brilliant. Like
Please
Kaiju.
don't trade. We're gonna take 10% if you do. Shame on you. An extra 2,000 ETH. Fuck off. Yeah, that was we talked about CloneX a lot, but that was one of the more asinine things that took place during that drop. My most promising future is a newer project, but one that I like a lot. It's something that I minted a few of and then bought more pre-reveal. But this is oops, I accidentally pulled up Cool Cats. Cool Man's Universe. This is a project that I thought looked really, really good. They did the traits a little bit differently. There's like an abundance of rare traits. They're fun to look at. They've got a lot of uniqueness. They've got a lot of character. But somewhere in between Lemon Friends, Alien Friends, and some of the other things that happened, they just haven't seemed to catch that hype cycle that some of the other ones did. Now they're still well above mint price. They're still at 0.2. There's lots of volume trading on them. But I just think that this is a project that hasn't had its moment yet. You alluded to Instagram maybe in next year being a little bit more receptive to NFTs. It seems like an obvious platform to start verifying NFTs and start encouraging them, especially with the direction that Facebook's going with Meta. Now, despite the user base not being overly receptive to NFTs, this is something that I think will make a lot of sense. And if that is the case, then Cool Man Coffee Dan, who is the artist behind Cool Man's Universe, is going to be, second to none in terms of reach there. He has millions and millions of followers on Instagram, and if any of that starts to catch steam on that platform, this guy has a built-in user base to market to immediately, especially as newer people start to enter the scene and they're looking for that next cool cat. They're looking for that next crypto punk. I also think some of the people behind the scenes and the connections that they have, this hasn't quite seen the light of day yet. And I know that they're building kind of their own cute little metaverse style thing. So I don't think a lot of the roadmap that they've teased out is come to fruition yet either. I think 2022 is going to be a big year for this project. There's something about this project that I just really, really enjoy. And despite buying these and minting these, looking for a good trade, I found myself wanting to hold them.
This was one of those reveals that was almost surprising in how good the art was. The
Very
traits are
much
next
so.
level. This is an undervalued project, no question. I think one of the things that may be holding it back a little bit is they've turned kind of the rarity scale on its head. Rares are not that rare because there are so many rare traits. So that may be hindering it a bit. It reminds me of Begons, which are just such a complicated collection. It's very hard to make sophisticated buys unless you're being advised. And that kind of feels like Cool Man's a little bit. So many of the commons look rare, which again, I think is a great thing. Like the commons look fabulous. You would be proud to rock most of these as your PFPs, but it also kind of it twists the volume system around that we're all used to and could be what's hindering it here. But I love this pick from you. I own 4 of them. I don't have any of them up for sale. I even pulled a semi-rare Frankenstein special, which I'll be holding on to. So I look forward to seeing what Cool Man Coffee Dan does come this new year, because this was not a cheap mint, right? This was a mint by a known artist who said, I would like some capital to turn this into a legitimate property. And I believe in him. And it's sitting, comfortably 2x from mint. I look forward to seeing what Dan has in store for us.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that this was something interesting and potentially something special when one of the ones that I minted was about as plain as it got. It has neutral expression. It's got the nude, like no clothes or whatever, just like folded arms and wearing an orange baseball hat. Like that's literally the only thing that the only trait that it has that's noteworthy. And I saw it and I just thought that looks fucking awesome. Like I would rock that as my profile picture, and it's rarity like 9,000 or something like that. Like it's not even close to being anything special, but it just looks great. And what really kind of triggered that like aha kind of thing in Cool Man's universe, the project was that I was getting offers on this one, despite it being almost the bottom of the rarity, rankings, for well above floor. Now, nothing life changing. And I still wanted to hold on to it to see where it went, but like, the floor was maybe at 0.2, a little bit higher than that. And I was getting offers for like 0.33 on it. And that just kind of triggered this response in my mind that it was like, people are looking at these seriously. They're looking for ones that they like. They're looking for ones that maybe they actually want to rock as their profile picture. And that I think is it kind of captures a special place in my heart, and I think that it's got a great future ahead of it. All right, my friend, are you ready to move on to the next category? Think free market muted himself there. Let's just give him a second.
Next category. Let's do it.
Yeah, you good to go?
Good to
Okay.
go.
So yeah, the biggest story of 2021. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be NFTs, although I think it will be somewhat centered around that. But what did you have for the biggest news story of 2021?
That would be Visa buying a CryptoPunk. So
Okay.
CryptoPunks had this very nice run earlier in the year where they had gone from about 20 to 60 E. And they had bopped around a little bit between 40 and 60, usually settling in around 50, until one day it was announced that Visa bought a CryptoPunk. This caused the CryptoPunk bot to go at a speed of which I had never seen. I talk about how I have a lot of these bots attached to my Apple Watch, and it was a CryptoPunk sale every few seconds. And I mean, we're talking about 60E, 70E, 80E, and it was insane. Within a few days, I think these were above 80E. They experienced a little consolidation, eventually got above 100. But the mainstream news cycle that occurred after Visa bought this punk, if you remember, there was shenanigans going around. People started airdropping just everything to the Visa wallet because obviously you can't hide which wallet it was. And you had small artists dropping their collections to try to be noticed. And you maybe had some crypto Twitter people dropping peppy dicks in there just for fun. But I think it really kicked off the mainstream hype cycle this year in all NFTs. And it was, to me, the most important mainstream entry ever into crypto. And it was an NFT, which is really interesting. This wasn't Visa adopting a DeFi protocol. This wasn't Bitcoin being adopted by El Salvador. I think easily the biggest thing that's ever happened in crypto was Visa buying a CryptoPunk.
Yeah, I mean, you always see Visa and MasterCard and some of these financial institutions hint at, they're working with Ethereum, or they've put, job postings up for Solidity devs on their website and stuff like that. You know that they're toiling in the background with these the blockchains and how they can use them to their advantage. But them just coming out and buying a CryptoPunk was, a huge deal. Like you said, it might have, springboarded into one of the bigger bull runs that we've seen in NFTs. I think in comparison, when we look, into 2022, it might actually seem like a small bull run. But yeah, that's a great pick, actually. It's one of those things that I don't think it got enough credit. Now I kind of forget about it, and you said that, and I'm like, oh yeah, they did that. That was a big deal. So I think that's a
Well,
great pick.
Nike and Adidas, you can argue, are as big, but Visa was the first.
Yep.
You could even say that these wouldn't have happened had Visa not done it. And I really do think it was the biggest thing to ever happen in the crypto industry, period.
It's the first domino falling, right? Like
Yeah.
it's important. It's one of those things that legitimizes the whole process. It makes people go, "Oh, you can do this," and it makes that comfort level for other companies to kind of follow suit. One of the reasons why I think El Salvador doing, adopting Bitcoin is important too, as you kind of alluded to, was just that they might not be the biggest country. They don't have a ton of GDP. They're not like, fabulously wealthy or anything. But it is that first domino, and I think that is a trend that will continue in 2022. So a great pick.
What about you, my friend?
Yeah, for me, it wasn't NFT centric, but I do think that this is one of the biggest things to happen to crypto. Was the crypto.com center taking over from the Staples Center in Los Angeles. This is one of the most recognizable names in sports arenas. It hosts the biggest sports franchises in the world, in the Los Angeles Lakers, the Clippers, the LA Kings. It hosts huge concerts, and this is the level of importance for this to happen. And how many times the crypto.com center is mentioned, for better or for worse, is going to be mind-boggling. This is a name that gets said, dozens of times every broadcast. It was swept the entire sports world about, is crypto going too far? And it'll always be the Staples Center to me. Sure, I'm a lifelong Lakers fan. I'm gonna feel like it's always the Staples Center to me too. But Crypto.com paid $700 million for the naming rights for the next 20 years on this stadium. And that to me signals a huge shift into mainstream acceptance. We saw some of the other arenas getting renamed with FTX and Coinbase as well. This is not going anywhere. You're going to see more arenas. You're going to see more advertisements on team jerseys in the background of sports. And you're going to see more and more athletes adopt this stuff. And this is one of those first really big dominoes to fall. The crypto.com center is my pick for the biggest story of 2021. Good for crypto, good for NFTs.
If you're not a Lakers fan or from California, I don't think it could be overstated how the seminal moments in your life may have occurred in the Staples Center.
100%.
The LA Lakers just running championship after championship for a decade. And the Staples Center being, I would argue, along with Fenway Park and maybe the Yankee Stadium, as the most important arenas in the world. And for it to change its name, this is something that the entire city, the entire state talks about regularly. And a big shout out to Michael, who runs the morning squeeze every morning. He's actually a brand ambassador for one of the suites at the Staples Center, which is now the crypto.com center. And he's talked about it a lot. It is huge. I think that we talk about basketball, the NBA in general, as being one of the most crypto-friendly corporations out there. And man, how many times a year are we going to be saying crypto.com because of this? So just huge.
Yeah, it's a gigantic deal. I mean, this was the house that Kobe and Shaq built. Rest in peace to Kobe. This is the Clippers are a gigantic a sports franchise with Steve Ballmer owning them. Former Microsoft CEO. The Lakers are just an absolute force in terms of global recognition and whatnot. You've got LeBron James playing there, who we could. A whole other argument, but it could be argued as the greatest basketball player of all time. Maybe not. But the relevance of this arena in the world is right up there, as you said, with Yankee Stadium, Fenway. You throw like the the name is escaping me, but the stadium that Manchester United plays at, in there as well. And
the Pip Cheerio, is that what it's called?
Spoken like a true American for sure. No,
Uh,
big deal, and I'm definitely going to be expecting more stadiums to go that route, for sure.
I
Uh,
love I love the English people and all the islands of the United Kingdom.
yeah, especially our favorite Illidan from the UK.
Yes, shout out Dark Illidan.
Okay, let's finish this off. We're gonna do a biggest winner and a biggest loser of 2021. You go first. Biggest winner. Who you got?
I don't remember. What did I say? We did this before the show. I remembered every other one except this last one.
Cool
Remember what
Cats,
I wrote
man.
down?
You went on a 30-minute
Biggest
tangent
winner.
about Cool Cats.
Yes. We have talked so many NFTs. Now, Cool Cats minted at 0.02. If there was any mint that I am just every day, I am sad that I was not a part of, are these Cool Cats, right? These remind me a lot of the little lemons. They minted at 0.02. They have arguably the best traits that have ever existed in an NFT collection. It was a slow start. They couldn't mint out. They started to get popular, and we saw them get up to one. And I think people were really surprised when they even got up to there. But soon after, and they had been bopping around and consolidating around that price, Time Magazine and Keith, the CEO of Time Magazine, announced Cool Cats as the official collection of Time. And I don't know if anyone understood what this meant at the time. They had to hold a town hall to even explain what this means. But this is one of those projects where you don't say when token, you say when TV show. The merch, the licensing, the look. I mean, this could have been a very large entertainment property in Hollywood, but it started out as an NFT collection. They, during the run, got above 10E. I forget where they exactly stopped. I think it was 12 or 14 or something of that sort. They've subsequently cooled down, but I think going into 2022, I believe this will be the next blue chip. I think they're going to get 250 ETH at some point next year, probably when punks and apes are cooling down from the massive run that they're going to have in Q1. I couldn't be more bullish on Cool Cats. I've talked about teams a few times this show. The team there is as good as Bored Apes, maybe not quite as popular. The derivatives that have come out of Cool Cats, including my easily favorite project of the year, which is Little Lemon Friends. I can't say enough good things about Cool Cats. They could be my second or third favorite PFP of all time. And while they didn't quite get to the level of Bored Apes this year, they are easily my biggest winner that came out of nowhere.
Absolutely love it. I think that Cool Cats are one of the most recognizable NFT brands. They're one of the most approachable NFT brands. They look great. They look like so good in profile pictures. And I think people just look at them and you can kind of get it, right? They have character, they have style, they have great traits, as you mentioned. There's tons of variety in them, and they've just executed at such a high level. They're constantly flirting with that 10 ETH floor. I know at some point they've been over it, I believe. Is that, if I'm wrong about that, please correct me. But I agree with you that, provided crypto and NFTs continue the strong run that we think that they're going to have in 2022, barring any kind of disaster, Cool Cats is, I believe, going to be an up into the right project. And I don't think it's going to be ridiculous to see some of those Bored Ape style floors that we're currently seeing for Cool Cats in the next year.
Yeah, I mean, Cool Pets, which is coming out. I think Carson just asked me, do I think cats will run faster than doodles? I think they're in different stages of their life, right? Cats have already entered the 10E club, and while they've had this pullback, I think it's going to be a lot easier for them to get back above 10 as the trend goes back towards them. Doodles, I think, will get up to 10 and then have a similar pullback that we've seen in most collections and go quiet for a while. You know how these hype cycles go. Everyone who wants one's going to buy one, we're going to run out of buyers. We're going to be sitting at 10E and there's going to be nothing to do but sell. So I love the doodles. I definitely called them as the next collection to 10E, but I do think I do think Cool Cats will become the next blue chip, and doodles will have some work to do before they hit that status.
Yeah, they do feel like they're neck and neck, but I think that you're right on the money about the fact that they're in different spots in their lives. The distribution of the holders, how long the holders have been in it, are all going to play a big factor in that. And as Cool Cats has held that really high floor for a bit longer, a lot of the people that entered are probably going to be in that price point as well, and be comfortable for holding to higher levels.
This is another, story where there were a lot of people in that Doodles mint who probably have never even dreamed of having an NFT close to 10E. I see so many Doodle pictures out there as like, man, these people are on the come up. I applaud this collection. It's great. It's amazing.
Another really, really great profile picture project is the Doodles. They look so good, and they have spawned some brilliant derivatives too. It's just an art style that works really good. Much to
animations.
Much to some people's dismay, my pick for biggest winner of 2021 was anybody that invested in Sol at any point earlier in this year. I know you're gonna fleece me for this, but this is an NFT chain that has quietly built in the background. And I'm gonna go into the next segment almost immediately. But yeah, it wasn't too long ago. If you look back a year, that Sol was at $1.45 or even less. It ran up to $260 sometime in November. It's a blockchain that has come from relative obscurity to a top 10 crypto that's focused around NFTs. And as much as we like to laud the Solana blockchain, the people who have done who have invested in it, who have participated in it, have done really, really well for themselves. If you are part of that blockchain and have been holding it for any amount of time, congratulations to you. And I'm just going to go right into the biggest loser of the year, and that is the Solana blockchain itself. As much as the price has reflected a lot of success and given its holders a lot to celebrate, the Solana blockchain has been not great. We've seen it go down multiple times this year for extended durations. Asking the devs to restart the router was a constant meme. It's constantly touted as like cheap transaction fees and the future of NFTs and whatnot. But the simple fact of it is that it just doesn't have the volume that Ethereum does. And the saddest part about it is a lot of their featured projects, their high profile projects, and all of those things are simply just copies of Ethereum projects. There's very, very little originality on it. And that's not to say that there's none. That's not to say that there's no good projects on it, but it's just been a blockchain that just in all shapes and forms seems to be an Ethereum ripoff. I mean, it just is what it is. So congratulations to holders of the Sol coin, but the Sol blockchain is one that I'm going to be looking for to start doing some more original stuff and have some more stability before I really care about it, if I'm being honest with you.
I think the best meme of the year was "Sell me all your Sol at $3 and fuck off." Shout out to that guy. Forgot who it was, but he was right.
Yeah, I mean,
he was right.
Solana is something that you've constantly talked about would be better as a layer 2 on Ethereum. I don't know that that's going to happen, but I think that I'm inclined to believe that that is true. I mean, it has huge VC backing, but it's just one that for how far it's come, how far the price has gotten in it, it does just feel like all speculation, because I just don't think that the network is worth what the coin price and the market cap has reflected. So
this will be a future bridge for Ethereum, and it will be a gaming centric chain. It's my prediction for Solana.
You got it. All right, let's cap it off. What is your biggest loser of 2021?
All right, you're gonna have to remind me again.
Um, I don't know. Just pick one real quick.
All right, biggest loser of 2021 has to be the creatures, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, I like the creatures art. This was billed
Oh
as
shit! You know what you had
one of
was.
the more
I'm sorry. You had pudgy penguins, so we talked about both of these.
ha even better. Thank you. See, these projects escape away. Pudgy Penguin. All right, this project was one of these point oh 0.02 mints that had a lot of controversy around the launch, mainly because of Cole, who was attached to the project and had supposedly been involved in some untoward situations earlier on. Put all that aside, it ends up becoming the meme project of the entire culture. They were minted at 0.02. I believe during the hype cycle, they ended up getting to 5 ETH. It made a good friend of mine, 0x Elmo, quite famous for being the face of Pudgy Penguins and a Pudgy Penguin bull. Shout out 0x Elmo. And the most interesting part to me was that during the bear, this project held its floor so well. People in this community loved being part of this community. They felt close to each other, and selling your penguin was more than just getting off the profit train. It was not being part of this community anymore. That was really powerful. They were able to hold a 2 ETH floor during the bear, which many projects with a higher profile could not maintain. I even contended that this project must be an elite. It must be real to be able to maintain this floor into the bear. But as the as the as the end of the year approached, there seemed to be real controversy with one of their community managers, a gentleman named Cold Pizza. Shout out to Cold Pizza. He got into a bit of a disagreement with Cole and the management there about his contract. It caused a mutiny within the community and some of the craziest FUD I had ever seen in a community that seemed very close knit and tight. But man, these things got under 0.5 at one point after having sit at 2 just the week before. And Pudgy Penguins, which seemed like this scrappy underdog meme that somehow pushed its way through to become a legitimate project, very reminiscent of Doge. It felt like a Doge situation to me. Right now, they're in complete shambles, and their community manager left. He brought a lot of the good vibes with him, and we'll see if Pudgy Penguins can recover. I'd say their best chance at recovery here is that one of the more prominent members of their community, 9x9x9 ETH, created the feel-good story of the year in the SOS coin, which still maintains a $300 million market cap and about a 6x above where it ICO. Oh, he is a penguin. He is a penguin dressed as a banana, and now his face is plastered all over NFT Twitter in a positive way. I said, could this single-handedly save the Pudgy Penguins project? But that is my pick for biggest loser of the year.
Yeah,
Pudgy Penguins.
I would say, unfortunately, just to add an addendum onto that, the biggest loser of that would be the Pudgy Penguins holders who got caught up in the middle of that. Especially the
Always.
ones that entered at a higher price point, expecting this, great diamond-handed community, and to see that internal conflict and kind of controversy affect them in that way, and just watch it all kind of the floor kind of fall out from underneath them is really unfortunate. This is a space that has a lot of egos. There's a ridiculous amount of money in play here, and sometimes that gets the better of people. But it is really just such a big shame. I like the art. I've always liked them. You always recognize seeing a Pudgy Penguin around. And it always just seemed to be a community that was just really great. You never heard too much shit coming out of it, and like you said,
No.
it weathered some of the bear markets as good as any project could have hoped to. And now we are in the middle of a really, really great bull run where we're seeing tons of projects get these huge swells of volume, and Pudgy Penguins is still around under that 1 ETH floor. So I hope for the people that bought in and the people that believed in this community's sake that we get back there for them. And I do think that there is some light at the end of the tunnel.
So many homies are in that project. I wish nothing but good things for Pudgy Penguins, but it was a rough Q4 for them.
Yeah, you got it. All right. And the final award that we have today is the best morning show on weekdays in the 9:30 to 11 a.m. slot, hosted Monday to Friday on Alpha Mint.
I was going to say Good Morning America.
Fuck.
But
I
no,
really
that
thought we had a chance there, man.
yeah, that shout out to Alpha Mint, shout out to the entire founders team, and to every member out there. You have made this year phenomenal for me and R2. I'll speak for him. So just thank you guys a lot.
Speak away, my friend. I couldn't agree more with you. This has been so much fun. It's just been an absolute pleasure to wake up every morning, do this show with you every single day. I don't think we've ever even considered taking a day off, even as Christmas was approaching in between New Year's. And can I say it will ever happen? Yeah, I'm sure we will end up taking a day off, or, as the world resumes and travel kind of resumes. It might be, eventually coming, but this has been just so much fun. I'm so glad that we finally ended up doing a show together, and I look forward to all of the things that 2022 has to bring us and the Alpha Mint team and members.
Yeah, man, let's go. And if anybody out there in the audience would like to come up and give us some of their best picks, biggest winners, biggest flops, thoughts on the year, please put your hands up. Let's talk 2021 in NFTs.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to bring some people up. I am just going to let you kind of take control of that for a second. I do have to just go use the bathroom real quick, as we have easily covered an hour and a half of content here, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, Zakoki, welcome up. I'm going to let Free Market take it away from here, and I will be right back.
Good morning, Zakoki.
Hello, guys. Good morning. Happy New Year. Thank you for having me up again on the morning show. It's been a great year for NFTs and a very interesting one, and I think 2022 is going to be insane, completely insane with the amount of new people that are going to join the space. But so two projects that I wanted to discuss this morning were, the first one was Project NanoPass. And this one kind of caught me by surprise, honestly, because early on in the whitelist process, like, I had no idea what this project was. I was confused what this land, which I don't really think is even land. It's just like a NFT that looks like land, I think. But it doesn't really have use like World Wide Web 3 and all that. But I think what it did do is it proved that when you promise your holders something like right around the corner with these black boxes, they're willing to hold. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on that for about that.
I like the black boxes idea. I don't like straight like, hey, we're going to give you ETH if you hold our NFT. I like it to be, at least themed within the project. And I completely agree here. I think utility and perks for holders is a very complicated subject that needs to be approached properly and planned out well. But projects that executed correctly, I think, like NanoPass, a lot of people were looking forward to that black box. I remember for being holders on the first run. So they certainly are on to something with that type of utility. I feel like it was negligent of us to not even mention Metaland in our 2021 trends, because wow, this, between Sandbox, DCL, and all these alternative plays, it's certainly shaping up as one of the bigger trends. But to your point, is it metaverse land? Is this going to be a functional metaverse? How does it fit into the ones that exist? We don't know. They do look really, really cool, but I do think that having something on their roadmap like the black box also gives them time to build out and plan. whatever's going on. So great point, Zakoki. Agree with you.
I'm just
And
getting back. Sorry, I'm assuming we're talking about Metaverse, and I think NanoPass was in there.
NanoPass. Yep.
yeah. And the second thing that I wanted to discuss, which is one of the most confusing projects of the year for me personally, was Project Gojira. I have absolutely no idea how this project is at a 2 ETH floor. I saw them during the whitelist process, and I thought, like, okay, this is just another one of these Genesis token projects. Like, I've seen hundreds of these in this pixel art meta. But to me, honestly, like, if anybody can explain to me how Project Gojira is at 2 ETH and how the art looks like it's like, in my opinion, it looks like it's from a rug pull project. Like, I have no idea how they're holding up that high. I just
Are
wanted
these
to.
these are the Godzillas that kind of look like big penises with hats on, if I'm not mistaken. Am I wrong here? I'm
Yeah,
really
they
not.
are ridiculous on another level. Like, almost, it has to be intentionally bad.
Yeah, that's my most confusing pick of the year because I have no idea how they're holding up at 2 ETH and people are buying them at 2 ETH.
Well, next year we're gonna have
Yeah.
the 2022 Zakoki What the Fuck Award.
Yeah, exactly. I am perplexed by that one as well. Almost as perplexed by Cyber Gorillas, but at least that one died as it should, right? One's not holding 2 ETH. Yeah, very strange. We'll have to look into it and see what is there that is causing this. Whether it's some sort of like supply mechanic because some whales control a lot of it, or whether there's some sort of like magic roadmap item there that we're all missing or something. Who knows?
Right. Okay. Thank you guys.
Ah,
Have a good Happy New Year.
thank you.
And I look forward to 2022 being a part of the Alpha Mint fam.
Happy New Year, dude.
Thank you, Zakoki. Happy New Year to you.
Super excited for 2022. Let's get Jaguar up here. He had his hand eagerly up earlier on the show. But yeah, I saw in the chat a fellow restaurant Degen. GM Jaguar.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Yes,
Good to go.
Give me.
Maybe having a bit of a hard time hearing you.
All right, just give me 1 second. I'm trying to get this set up. I can't hear you guys. I'm holding my phone, but I can't hear you guys.
Oh, I got
There's there could be a little speaker button right there. It's not.
Okay, I mean it's okay, no problem. I'll just hold it on. Can you hear?
Yeah. I think you are cutting out still, unfortunately. Yeah, if you reset your Discord, try to come back in, and maybe that will work. We can bring up Cass in the meantime.
Yeah,
But please,
we'll definitely
get
fit you
back
a
in
Jaguar
here.
once that's resolved. Cass GM, one final time in 2021 up on the Alpha Mint Morning Show stage.
Imagine that. Shit. Oh, wow. It's gone quick, hasn't it?
It has.
It's gone fucking quick.
Lightning.
Too quick. Too quick. Funny, yeah, too quick. I mean, I think I've been here for like 2 months, a month and a half.
Yeah,
And that's just mad in itself. Just in Alpha Mint.
feels like we've known you for years, honestly.
Trust me. Like, yeah, this is what it's nuts. So going back to the highs and lows, or best thing, low thing, I was enjoying that. That was actually fucking cool. I would like to say that my highest point is people and community, because if COVID never happened, technically, we wouldn't have been forced to kind of look into these kind of alternatives, and we probably would never have met each other. And it's because of this space that I have met really good friends and really good communities, and I think that's the highest point of 2021 is the building of community. Going to what Zakoki said as an example, don't understand why it's gone up to 2 ETH, because of the people that's in it.
Yeah.
It's the community. Yeah. So it's nothing to do with the art. It can do, but it has to do with the art because that's what the affiliation of what people's feelings are towards something. Yes. So a common ground, like in the car scene, common ground. You like cars, you'll start talking. You like football, you'll start talking. So it's the same with art, picture, a theme. And then you go in the community and it depends on the vibe of the community. Funny, yeah, yeah. So I think that's my high point is community and what a community can actually do to something. So any one of these projects is a community that's built it up to the valuation of what it is, because that's the only thing that stands with it. You're not getting no monetary value. It's what it stands for. It's got to be the people. It's got to be what you get from the project, from the community around you. So to have that in that kind of vibe, you don't really get in the everyday world. You can do,
I agree.
yeah, but it's nothing like what it is. So I
No,
think,
and these are the new social networks, right? We've talked about this a lot, where NFTs are creating social clubs, and what has always bonded human beings more than anything, it's art, right? Whether it's a band that we all like, or a TV show that gets everyone around the water cooler, these things create bonds that people, it signals to somebody that you're part of a group. And that's why I think NFTs are so powerful. They have monetized and they've really monetized culture in a way we've never even thought possible. I think the greatest bull markets are when we unlock resources that are there through technology that we didn't have access to. We look at oil. Oil was under the ground for millions of years. We didn't have access to it until technology unlocked it. Well, culture has been underneath us for millions of years, and we have been unlocking it in certain ways, but never have we seen it unlocked in a way that NFTs have provided. And that's where I think the real crux of this phenomenon is. It's why Facebook is threatened by it. These are the new social networks.
100. So that's the high point. Low point is again, weirdly enough, certain sectors of people. Like, you get your scammers who have just taken opportunity upon opportunity. People who rug people who just there to make a quick buck. People who abuse the community that they've built. And just the nasty sides of it, so to say. It's weird. I'm not fudding or nothing, but a project I was helping out had 30 pudgy penguins, and I went to the pudgy penguins community and said, like, hey, like, we've got 30 pudgy penguins. Why don't we do something together? Like a party or just something. Not asking for anything much. And instead of saying, yes, well, you've got so many and blah, 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 like, let's jam and chill and do whatever, they more or less slammed the door straight in front of my face. And
Really?
yeah, really, honestly,
That's a
right
shame.
in front of my face. And I said, like, okay, then cool, no problem. So that's when I started selling them, funny enough. So yeah, like if communities need to kind of coexist together to kind of work. And when the FUD happened with Pudgy Penguins, I wasn't really surprised because of the vibes that they were creating there, or the separation between the two communities within. Yeah, so I think Power Trip is the downfall.
Yeah, they
of,
maybe just drank too much of
2021.
their own medicine.
Yeah, exactly
Huh,
that.
interesting.
Exactly that. So yeah, that's what and it's not just that I just use that as an example, but I've seen it in quite a few. So people's egos, overboil because they're ranked 290th on their server and they've got some color, and then all of a sudden, you start seeing people get a power trip over shit like that. And that's in a lot of communities. So yeah, there's a balance between the two. So I think those are my takes and outtakes 2020.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on both
Beautiful
ends of
stuff,
it.
Cass.
Yeah, very well said. And
Yeah. Question.
Love. Venom, GM, Happy New Year. Guys, Happy New Year, man. I will see you in 2022, fam.
see you next year, my
Oh
friend.
man, thank you for everything, Cass. See you next year.
Love, guys, man. Love. Big
Yeah,
year.
GM Cass.
GM Venom, how are you?
What's going on, boys?
Living the dream, man. Having a
Chilling.
great
How you
time.
doing?
Sean, I'm just I'm off a little bit of like a 3 or 4 day hiatus, so I'm just kind of coming back into the NFT space, a little refreshed, a little fuzzy, trying to grasp for straws as to what's currently going on. But no, I mean it was cool that you guys were recapping. I thought that was really cool. One of my biggest things I think that like I keep coming back to is probably Ivan Hodel and his MoonPay company.
Okay, yeah.
I think that like what he's doing with Bored Apes and kind of just the positioning and the social networking that he's landing these big apes into these like Post Malone and Gunna and Future. I feel like
Yeah, Post Malone
he's
literally did it in the
pinging
music video.
things from like a different influential standpoint, and that's gonna. Yeah, I think that, and the weekend, I'm sure that there's a lot that's gonna be. We're gonna be seeing a lot of that in 2022. I'm sure Ape Fest 2022 is gonna be crazy. So like I think that that kind of more IRL aspect. And then the celebrityism of it obviously is huge. So that was probably my biggest like pull, for NFTs. Obviously the Visa thing was huge too. That had a lot, that had like a huge normie effect. Like, shit, like people were asking me like, oh, this company, bought a,
Well,
so that was
the
big.
things
Budweiser.
Yeah.
I was just going to say the thing that I think is going to take apes and punks back above 100E in Q1 is MoonPay. I think that celebrities are going to move into apes in a huge way in January and February. It's largely going to be facilitated by MoonPay, and this type of frictionless concierge service for high net worth individuals to be able to buy these without accidentally going in and typing in 12 die into the OpenSea box, I think is a huge reason we're going to see a full gigasend in Q1.
Yeah, I think what MoonPay ended up doing, positioning themselves as that like easy, frictionless bridge for celebrities to just jump in there and be able to participate in really high end NFTs. And as you said, the way that they've marketed the celebrities doing it has just been so spot on. It's been so relevant. There's been so many eyes on what they've been doing. And I really look forward to what they continue to do in the new year. I think that they've created such a great marketing strategy. And they've reduced all friction from these people who have exorbitant amounts of wealth that aren't going to be sitting there minting or trudging around the floors trying to find the next Bored Apes. They just want their Bored Ape. They want to pick which one they get, and MoonPay makes that happen for them. Like that's it's genius. It's so obvious, and kudos to them.
Yeah, so that was kind of the one major thing that I could think of.
Yeah, great pick.
I don't really have, there's from like a Biggest Losers perspective, I don't really like to, go back as far as like thinking like that. But I mean, even like the projects that made me some of my biggest bags, like you guys got to keep this in mind. Some of the projects in this year that made me my biggest bags are completely dead rugged projects.
Mm-hmm.
Projects that have a 0.00 ETH value right now on the floor. So like it's all kind of about what you touch, how many shots you make, go after whitelists. Oh, that was a big one. So here's my big one for 2022. is Invisible Friends. Obviously, everybody knows it,
Lots
but
to talk
that's going to
about
be
that.
my yeah. So that January, we're right there. So that's going to be the drop of the month, I think.
If they don't give us whitelist, they're going to have a really hard time minting Star Wolves.
yeah. So I mean, hey, if you
Leverage.
could work something out, or I mean, that'd be crazy.
Can you believe this is the last year the world will ever have without Star Wolves?
I'm actually thankful for it, to be honest. So like, it can't happen, and it can't happen. I mean, Jesus, you guys, the website is it's so tantalizing, man. We have Star Wolves obviously going to usher back in that pixel meta, that is just going to be too good to say no to, obviously. And with the team behind it, and just the expertise that is being helmed with, it's just going to be a no brainer. So
Tell us
can't wait
more
for
about how fabulous we are.
Yeah, keep
no,
going.
listen,
We're listening.
listen, you guys. No, I'm genuinely excited. You guys, I talk with Free Market in the DMs all the time. This is the deal: is the Star Wolves team? They know what they're doing. They're the Alpha Mint guys. They see the market. You guys watch every drop. You're the Degen Dojo masters. So it's like, for anyone new coming into the scene in 2022, you're in no better of a place. I think about. I mean, I had the craziest NFT year in 2021, and for anyone starting in 2022, I'd beg to differ that I would bet that they would probably have a bigger year than I had my initial first year. So, and I'm sitting on M2 mutants and Neo Tokyo citizens and 888 passes, and so I mean I had none of that in January of last year. So I think that following in your guys' footsteps, like obviously, with the marketing perspective too, you guys have level of expertise that's really, bar none. So hats off to you guys and Alpha Mint. Cheers, boys. I'm gonna fucking
And
sign off. What?
I just need to say this while Venom is up here, because he may be the only one that understands what I mean. In crypto, to be a Chad is a very big compliment. This guy's a giga Chad. It was where in the industry Venom and I came from, being a Chad was probably the worst thing anybody could ever call you. So I just needed someone to agree with me on that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to be a bro or a Chad or this or that, like from a cannabis perspective, or like we're the guys that were here first before it was cool. You know what I mean? So now like our moms use weed lotion and shit, and it's just kind of a bizarre take to. Culture is an interesting thing, and that's definitely where NFTs are taking off towards. And it's everybody's going to have an NFT. I can't wait to just from like a thought process perspective, I can't wait to see like what Ticketmaster does with NFTs. Like, that a concert going experience is going to be tied to a physical, Ethereum NFT going forward. I can go on and on with
Did you see Mike opened a Discord yesterday, Exotic Genetics?
No, I did. I did not. But
yeah,
so that's all that is gonna be big, and honestly, a lot of the stoners that are like in weed, like they don't really know what the fuck they're doing. So there's gonna be a lot of like alpha onboarding, and a plentiful 2022 for Alpha Mint. So that's all. So,
Man,
yeah. Cheers, guys.
That is some of the kindest words
Cheers,
I could have asked for. That was amazing, and cheers. Thank you for coming up and sharing that. MoonPay is a great a thing to watch out for too. But a really happy New Year to you, and to all that's going to come in 2022. Super, super exciting. Thank you, Jaguar.
Happy New Year, Venom.
How'd we do?
Wensesh. What up, Jaguar? How you doing?
Ooh, I think we're still struggling with it. Yeah.
Jaguar. Let me just say this. Jaguar is an awesome fixture on the morning squeeze. I always value his perspective when he comes on there and talks. And he's part of the Lemon fam. We always have a good time. chatting every morning. What up, Jaguar? Can you hear us now?
Hello. Yes, GM,
We
GM.
did
Can you
it.
guys hear?
Yeah, you're good, man.
GM, sir.
Oh, awesome, man. I mean, I thought this was gonna be similar to the Twitter Spaces, so this is my first time. Thank you. Yeah, guys, thank you for for the this morning podcast, the morning show. It's called. Uh, it's like I said, I'm new to Web3. I mention it all the time. Well, not really that new. It's probably like my fourth week,
Oh, you're an
but
OG
I
at this point, man. That's like 10 years and
yeah.
anything else.
So yeah, I'm just gonna so thank you for having me on stage. I'm not gonna try to have I'm not gonna I'm not trying to take up a lot of time because I do tend to just wander off and just speak my mind. So I wanted to start off by saying yeah, you were talking about I wanted to discuss the an NFT project that I was interested in last week, but I'm not interested in anymore. How you guys were talking about the hype craze. So I wanted the project I'm talking about is it was the example I'm using. It was this official NFT Naruto project, or
Mm-hmm.
at least that's how it was marketed. And the early warning signs. So this all just happened within a week span. So the early warning signs is they had no Discord. They announced the Discord, I believe, 2 3 days ago, but you had to do hoops to join. They said that they were limiting the Discord to 10,000 users, and they were gonna open the Discord for 5,000 users at a time. And they announced the time. They the way that they released the Discord, they put a picture on the Twitter account with the link to the Discord. It wasn't a direct link, so you had to type it in. And I was excited for this. My background, I'm very big into cartoons, trading cards, sneakers, Supreme, like all that stuff. And I was really excited for this because Naruto is like top five anime. It's up there with Dragon Ball Z. Some people like it even better than Dragon Ball Z. So that was the early warning signs, the hoops to join. People complained and they were saying that that they were gonna release a better, fair method to join the Discord, which was yesterday. And then another way that they were marketing the project is they hire legitimate NFT artists to put it, to push the legitimate narrative of the project. One of the artists, her Twitter is Jixdi, JYXDI, and she has her own NFT collection as an NFT artist. She's very successful. And she had announced a few days ago as well. Like I'm saying, all of this happened within 1 week time frame. So she announced that she was going to be one of the artists for the project, so that people thought that this is completely legit. However, also a few days ago, people started raising concerns in the Web3 community because Web3 is 24 hours active and everybody always knows what's going on. People started receiving DMCA takedowns
Mm-hmm.
from the parent company that owns Naruto, and people were getting confused as why that was going on if this is an official Naruto project as they were claiming. So people started questioning the users that created this. The users, their names on their Twitter are Sydney K Taylor, and the other guy is Canadian Clay. So these are the people in charge of the project. As they were, I guess, the face of the project, and people started questioning them. So they came out and they said that they're actually waiting for that they have actually spoken to the people from Naruto, but they're still waiting for the deal to be finalized. That is not finalized yet. And because of that, like people that have an actual recognition in the NFT Web3 space. For example, like Jixdy, she announced last night, that she's backing out of the project. She wishes them best of luck because she says she was under the assumption, as well as all of us excited for the project, that this was that they had everything set in stone, but that wasn't the case. So, it's pretty much what you guys were talking about earlier about the hype craze. This is, I guess, a perfect example. I don't know if you guys were aware of it. And like me personally, like these users, the Sydney and Canadian Clay, they they're pretty much, in my opinion, they're gonna be blackballed from the Web3 community because their word has no credibility whatsoever, since they weren't, they weren't blatant about what was going on. And it seems, you know, I mean, I hope the people, Naruto parent company is paying attention, because there's obviously a huge demand for this, because you know people are just super excited. But you know, and it's but just like you guys were saying, you know, it's easy to get caught up in the hype craze, and you know, a project destroyed and stuff. Okay, so just I'm sorry, give me 1 second.
And
Um,
I would even. Oh, sorry. Finish, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to get my points across, because like I said, I do wander off into like all over. Okay, that was my first thing. The second thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was, you know, how you guys were talking about GameFi, the NFT fi, and you know how that's you guys look at that as a meta trend coming, you know, for next year. One of the things, I don't know if you guys are aware, I found out about this, you know, through the wormhole of the Naruto NFT, is that GameStop, they have an NFT platform, actually a website up right now. It doesn't say anything. It's just, I think it's nft.gamestop.com, and it says change the world. And in my opinion, I think it's just gonna be like a platform, like what Angry Birds is to the Apple Store. This is what GameStop hopes to, what their vision is. This is just my opinion. You know, they want to host the P2E games on their platform. And I think they might be onto something, because I also just saw on the news that South Korea has banned P2E games from their country, and that is a new law that went into effect, and it's retroactive. So all the big tech companies have to comply. This is just news from today. And yeah, guys, just wanted to, I think that's pretty much what. Oh, I'm sorry. Another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. I'm sorry. Um, Olive Garden. So a few
Yeah,
days
I
ago,
saw
there was a
that. Yeah.
project, not non-fungible Olive Gardens, and you know, it was just NFTs that you own your closest look, a picture of your Olive Garden. It wasn't affiliated with Olive Garden whatsoever in any way. And then just yesterday, they got a DMCA takedown from the parent company at Olive Garden as well. You know, they're saying that they're misguiding people, which they really weren't. They never used any logos, and on the minting page, it does say we are not affiliated anyway. But you know, they are using piggybacking off the name for the project. So,
Yeah.
however,
You're
they
gonna
launched, and the funny thing, the hilarious thing about this is that they launched two NFTs yesterday of the DMCA takedown letter. Like they minted that it's a NFT.
That was
I
funny.
thought
I
that
did
was
see that.
Brilliant.
so
Yeah.
so awesome.
Um,
But thank you guys. And for my personal, you know, crazy predictions for the 2022. Um, the Super Bowl. I feel like everything's gonna hit like its peak at the Super Bowl, because this is just like the merging of literally everything. The Super Bowl is just gonna be like something's gonna happen. That's just my prediction. And then you guys,
I like it.
towards the end of the discussion, you guys were talking about the stoners. Venom was talking about the stoners. I just wanted to mention as well. That's you guys are also right about that. It's about different cultures coming into Web3. And like web for stoners, for example, one project that I'm looking into that they're gonna start minting in a few weeks is Cheech and Chong. They have their own Discord, and it's by them. You know, they're promoting it through their personal Instagram accounts, their own NFT collections, and I think that's awesome. Like I plan on minting that just to support them. You know, so
Can
as
you
for
send me that link? Can you
yeah,
put the link in the general?
definitely have to
yeah,
check
yeah.
that
I'll
out.
send you guys
Thank you.
the link, and I like I'm sorry, like I don't mean to show, but maybe you guys could use my invite link. But yeah, definitely, and
Yeah.
that's all I wanted to get off my chest. Thank you, so
Dude,
guys. I enjoyed this, and Happy New Year's.
thank you so much. Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year's, Jaguar. Thank you.
Appreciate you coming up, and good to
So,
have you in Alpha Mint.
you want to take Naruto? I know you have opinions because
No,
they're
it was it,
Canadians.
it has nothing to do with them being Canadian. Naruto, like really quickly, yeah. This is something you're gonna see a lot of people that are being overly aggressive and taking IP, like you even mentioned Olive Garden kind of in the same light, and I think we could kill two birds with one stone there. There are gonna be people that try to take this and run with it. I think that the Naruto thing felt like they were trying to do a very short hype cycle, get people into the Discord, get them to mint, and do all of that very quickly, so that maybe the Naruto parent company wouldn't have time to react. I find it all very strange that these are the people that would have the licensing right to do an NFT. And as pardon me, as he pointed out, Jaguar pointed out, there were a lot of red flags on there. So I would imagine Naruto will eventually do an NFT, but I just don't think it'll be through them.
And thank God these people were not completely nefarious, because if you saw the hype this garnered in just a few tweets, had they just opened the Discord and let 100,000 people in and announced a stealth mint on a fake site, they could have robbed millions of dollars. So while it seems that they were trying to skirt licensing and some sort of scheme in that respect, thank God these people weren't completely nefarious. And that's why you have to watch out for these things. And it's why you don't, click first and think later. This should not be an industry that promotes fast click situations. And, thank God these people were not just complete scammers, because they could have really wrecked a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. I think on that note, we'll probably wrap this show up. If there's anything else you want to say before we finish up.
No, I think that's it. Happy New Year to all. What a wonderful, wonderful membership this has been for all of us, meeting you and being with all you guys. So thank you. Happy New Year. And I look forward to 2022.
Yeah. Again, like Free Market said, and we've said so many times this episode, 2021 has been amazing. I see only great things for 2022 and Alpha Mint for all of you and for all of us. I think that's going to be amazing. Just a little bit of announcement for the show. I think as of next Wednesday, which is January the 5th, I believe, we are going to start transitioning into only going live on YouTube and Twitch, and we're going to find a way to integrate Twitter Spaces on there as well. Some of the limitations of Discord have been pretty frustrating, and as as we experience on an almost a daily basis with it now, it's been a little bit frustrating. And really, we want to just be able to get the show out to people and have fun with it. We want everybody that's watching now and has always supported us to be able to jump onto one of those platforms. I mean, you can listen to it in the background, but if you want to watch along, I think that the show is a great experience. With some of the visuals we have going on there, we're going to be working on some production value, some editing, and all that stuff is going to be really, really great. So I'm super excited for 2022 to be doing that with you, Free Market.
Yes, sir. Right back at you, Cobain, R2, my friend.
You got it.
I look forward to all of this, and I say good luck at the table, DJ.
Happy New Year.